We need to talk about Amy Roloff and Chris Marek because right now there is a rumor swirling around the internet that is causing serious concern among little people, big world fans. The rumor is that after 4 years of marriage, Amy and Chris have officially called it quits. But is this actually true, or is something else going on? In this video, we are going to separate fact from fiction, dive into what these rumors really are, and give you the absolute latest update on Amy and Chris's relationship. Stick around because we are getting to the bottom of this. Amy Roloff and Chris Marek's love story was one for the history books, at least for little people, big world fans. If you have been following along for the last few seasons, you know that Amy and Chris didn't just meet on a whim. They have a very real, very grounded relationship that fans fell in love with. For years, Amy was married to Matt Roloff, the patriarch of the Roloff family. That marriage lasted nearly 3 decades, but things eventually came to an end in 2016. That was when Amy and Matt officially divorced, a process that was heavily documented on the show. It was a tough time for Amy, but she emerged from it with a new lease on life. And that new life included Chris Marek. Chris came into the picture in 2017, just a year after Amy's divorce was finalized. For a while, fans were a bit skeptical. Some even thought Chris might just be a rebound, a nice guy she met at a pool party, as the story goes. He was a real estate agent who owned a motorcycle, and he seemed to be a complete departure from the farm life Amy was used to. But over time, Chris proved everyone wrong. He was steady, kind, and most importantly, he made Amy happy. In 2021, they tied the knot on Roloff Farms in a beautiful ceremony that fans got to see on TV. It was a fairy tale ending for Amy, a second chance at love after years of tumultuous feelings with Matt. So, when the internet starts buzzing with rumors that this marriage might be in trouble, of course fans are going to take notice. And honestly, there is a lot to break down. So, where did these rumors start? It seems like there has been a lot of smoke recently. Let's start with the timeline of events that have led fans to believe that something might be up with Amy and Chris. First and foremost, the show. Little People, Big World, after an incredible run of 25 seasons, has officially come to an end. Amy herself confirmed that the show has concluded. Now, for a couple who has been in the spotlight for so long, it could be that the quiet is just too loud for some people. However, there have been some concerning reports floating around that might make fans worried. There was recently a report from a reputable outlet that Matt Roloff, Amy's ex-husband, shared a rare photo with Amy and Chris. It doesn't sound like a rumor, right? Well, the news was interesting because Matt shared this photo after his own split from his fiancée, Karen Chandler. It was a weird moment of unity between the exes, but it didn't necessarily point to a breakdown in Amy's marriage. In fact, Chris was right there in the picture, but there are other more troubling rumors. In the past few weeks, there have been claims on social media, particularly on various Facebook fan pages, that Amy and Chris have broken up. These posts have shown some pretty misleading things. For instance, one Facebook post made the rounds claiming that Chris was pictured with a new wife. The rumor suggests that Chris might have moved on, but we have to check that claim. There have also been theories that the drama surrounding Matt and Corinne's split somehow spilled over and affected Amy and Chris. It's a lot of speculation, but is any of it true? And what do the facts say? Let's take a step back and look at the hard evidence. When we go to Amy Roloff's official social media pages, what do we see? As recently as a few weeks ago, her Instagram bio still listed her proudly as a wife. She also goes by mom and grandma, but wife is right up there. If she were going through a divorce, it's likely that would be one of the first things to change. And then there are the pictures. Recent photos of Amy show that she is still proudly wearing her wedding band. In July 2025, a photo surfaced from Tori Roloff's social media showing Amy with her granddaughter, and the ring was clearly visible. Chris was even in one of the images. This is a huge indicator that things are stable, or at least that there is no immediate split. It would be quite odd to be wearing a wedding ring so prominently if a divorce announcement were truly on the horizon. Let's look at how these two have been spending their time. In recent months, after the show ended, Amy and Chris have been living a relatively quiet life. Amy has been focusing on new ventures. She actually has a new job, something she mentioned recently as a way to keep herself busy after the cancellation of the LPBW series. It sounds like she's taking the end of the show in stride and focusing on her next chapter. Meanwhile, Chris has been showing support for Matt Roloff. This is interesting because Matt is currently going through a breakup with Corinne, and Chris has apparently been a supportive figure. The dynamic of the family has shifted, but Amy and Chris seem to be navigating it as a united front. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. The main reason a story like this gains traction is that people love a good narrative. The story of Amy Roloff getting a second chance with Chris is a compelling one. People invested a lot of time in watching her heal from the divorce with Matt. The idea of her walking down the aisle again was romantic, and seeing her happy after all those years of tension with Matt gave viewers a lot of hope. When we hear that there is a chance that Amy and Chris might be splitting, it creates a shockwave because it feels like the story is getting rewritten. However, it's also important to consider that Amy is 63 and Chris is likely in a similar age range. They are past the drama of young love. They seem to be in a place where they want peace and stability. This isn't to say that there aren't challenges. Being married to someone who has a public history with an ex-husband is complicated. We've seen snippets where Chris and Amy have had disagreements on the show, and there were even reports that Chris was caught gossiping behind Amy's back with Matt about her. So it's not a perfect marriage, but a perfect marriage doesn't exist. It's about how they handle the hiccups. So the question is this Amy Roloff and Chris Marek official divorce a clickbait headline? Or is there a real fire behind the smoke? Based on what we can see from the public records and their recent activity, Amy and Chris are still together. The rumors seem to be mostly rooted in fan speculation and perhaps a desire for drama on the farm. There is no credible news outlet that has reported an official split. If there were a divorce filing, it would be public record. There have been no such filings that we know of. It's worth noting that while Amy and Chris are reportedly doing fine, Matt Roloff's life is a bit more complex. He is still trying to sell a huge chunk of the farm property for $2.6 million, and the family dynamics are messy. Perhaps the confusion is coming from the fact that fans are mixing up the drama with Amy and Chris with the drama between Matt and Corinne. When Matt and Corinne split in July 2025, it was huge news. It's easy for the rumor mill to spin that into drama for everyone on the farm. So, what is the reality of Amy Roloff and Chris Marek's relationship? They are married. They are wearing their rings. They are attending family functions together. And by all accounts, they are enjoying their life away from the TLC cameras. They aren't in the tabloids for dramatic fights or legal separations. We need to address the elephant in the room. The internet is a wild place. There are a lot of people out there who will take a single image or a vague comment and create an entire narrative out of thin air. This situation with Amy and Chris is a perfect example of that. The rumor started because of a fake post on a Facebook fan page. That is it. One of the biggest reasons we see these types of false alarms is because people want to see the unseen. They want to believe that reality TV isn't fake, and they search for the real drama that they think is being hidden from the cameras. But sometimes the hidden truth is just that there is no drama. For a reality TV star who has lived her life in the public eye for decades, Amy has been incredibly open about what's real and what's not. She openly admitted that while she showed a lot of her life on TV, she kept the intimate details of her divorce private. She has always balanced the public narrative with a boundary of privacy. So, if Amy isn't shouting from the rooftops that her marriage is over, it's probably because it's not over. So, what's the takeaway here? The headline, Amy Roloff and Chris Marek officially divorce announcement, is a false alarm. There is no new news, no breakup, and no official announcement of a split. As we've discussed, they are still together, still wearing their wedding rings, and still actively supporting each other. There is a lesson here about how quickly false information can spread online. A few weeks ago, fans were worried about Amy and Chris because of a fake post. Now, we have a clearer picture. It is a much more boring, but also much more realistic picture. Two people in their 60s, living a quiet life, enjoying their grandkid, and moving on from the reality TV era. It seems like Amy is moving forward by taking up a new job and focusing on her family. Chris is still around by her side. Whatever challenges they have, they seem to be navigating them privately and together. So, for the fans who were worried, you can breathe a sigh of relief. But, as always, we will be keeping our eyes open. If anything changes, you can count on us here at Reality Scoop to bring you the verified facts. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Did you think Amy and Chris were actually heading for a split? Or did you think this was just another internet rumor? Drop your comments down below and let us know what you think is going on with the Roloff family. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of reality TV, please hit that like button and subscribe to Reality Scoop. We cover all the latest news from your favorite reality stars, and we always separate fact from fiction. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.